born and raised in Japan, and it all happened very quickly. My family migrated to America.
How you got to England?
How I got to England, oh my God.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Well, do you want to tell us first how you got to England?
How I got to England, oh my God. I left Japan. So I was born and raised in Japan, but I left Japan not for England, but my family migrated to America. So my father got a job in California, and it all happened very quickly. And I still remember I was like second year in the junior high, so secondary school.
How many of you went to America?
So although me, my parents, and me and my sister, that was kind of our nuclear family. And I was coming home from the weekend because I was kind of in like a quasi boarding school, but I could go home on weekends. And my mom said, "Oh, did you know we're moving to America?" And I was like, "What?"
How old was she then?
I was like 14. Yeah. And then we always had a little bit of ties to America. Like my dad is an academic. So, when he was like visiting scholar, going to another university, but it was for a term or like 10 months, like at that academic year. And then there's once or twice that he took us, but I was like 3, then I was like 5. So it has happened. And
Yeah.
it didn't feel so far away, but it was still, quite a distant memory. You know what I mean? I didn't speak the language. I didn't remember particularly. I remember ice cream being great, like from my childhood being in America. So that was like a shock. And so my family migrated to California, and I did my high school, uni, and I always wanted to go back to Japan. So I did 1 year sort of academic exchange program back to my own country. So it wasn't really exchange, it was a bit strange. And then I also was trying to find a job there. But one way or the other, I studied engineering, and it was much easier to get higher paying job as an engineer in America than in Japan. So I ended up working in San Diego. So that was kind of my first, journey as the sort of a professional, fully grown adult. And I spent maybe 3 years, and about third year in my kind of professional life, I really started to understand it's like, maybe America is not a country for me.
Really?
Yeah, because I went to school in Berkeley, which is a very, very huge school with a very, very diverse set of students. It was still very American, but
Yeah.
you had a huge population of international students. And then also the campus life is very, very sort of, it's very well known for left wing,
Well,
very, I guess, liberal.
Okay. And was that influencing you at the time?
I think so. I think so. Well, maybe it just suited me or maybe influenced me. I don't know which came first. But so, I was very comfortable having that student life. But when I got to, sort of Southern California, and as a working professional, I realized even I work for an international company, my life became very American. Yeah, yeah. And my friend circles are Americans, and I started feeling like maybe all my friends were like the little international students I could find, or international engineer that I could find. I work for a Finnish company, so there's quite a lot of Nordics people. So I became friends with them, but I was never, I never got so close to the American core way of life or core community just because I just didn't have anything to connect with. I realized
you didn't have anything in common with that style of living, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then I thought, Okay, maybe I could go back to Japan, but I was still in
Did you
it.
still have family in Japan then?
I did have an extended family, but by then my sister was still living in Northern California, like sort of Bay Area. My dad was still working in
What
the
was your dad
university.
doing then, working in the university?
Yeah, he was just a professor teaching engineering, so like
Yeah.
a robotics engineering. Yeah, and my mom was a homemaker. And yeah, so I thought, okay, maybe I could go back to
So you're at a bit of a
Japan.
crossroads here.
Yeah.
You're thinking, do I go back to Japan, which is your home, really?
Yeah. And then I knew still a lot of friends, especially because I did that year of studying and a little bit of internship. I actually had few contacts at least, right? And then my family who was in Tokyo. And but still I faced the same challenge. You know, in Japan, I think a career building is usually a very long term.
Okay.
So, you know, you start with a very small salary, but you have that job security as well as quite a rigorous training to kind of get you through the career. And a lot
What
of
engineering
people,
was you doing?
I did mechanical engineering and then I was working as a mechanical engineer, which I think also Japan has many of them. You know, it's a very engineering heavy talent pool. So maybe that's why it doesn't pay you that well. So I was still, you know, third, fourth year in a career, you know. I think my job perspective would have been career sort of development perspective would have been very good, but it just they don't pay you that well for people in 20s, obviously. You know, it's much more about the long-term play in Japan than, you know, elsewhere. So I said, okay, well, maybe I go to business school. You know, it sounds trendy, fashionable. Maybe
Yeah.
it allows me to be more, you know, marketable. So I came to England for MBA, and then I applied to both US and then London. But my first choice was most definitely London because I thought, in case I never really get integrated in American society, school is a great way to
Yeah.
start building your personal network
Absolutely.
and start to also have a professional
And you hadn't
network.
been to London before?
I did maybe a graduation trip from high school, and then I did kind of that pan-European tour.
Okay.
You know, so I remember being in 2 days in London, 2 days in maybe Paris, 2 days in you know, did the whole Western Europe kind of thing. So I knew of it, but all I remember was I think back then with the exchange rate, like Big Mac costed like $10. Or like twice as much. I remember being £5 or maybe £4. Oh, at least the impression. And then like Tower of London, something like this. So yeah, I didn't know, but I just knew that I would like it here just because I think the impression has been that, well, first of all, England has history like Japan.
Yeah.
You know, where America is a very new country, and then there's a culture that comes with that, you know, positive and negatives as well. I just wasn't used to, you know, people didn't respect the tradition, you know, they make things so very simple, but maybe my thought process is not as simple.
Yeah.
Things like this. So
So you felt it was a time for a change.
time for a change. Yeah. And then so I came here for business school and
Was that a big thing for you to do, to suddenly pack up and come to London?
no, I didn't have a family. I mean, I didn't have my own family.
Yeah.
I wasn't seriously engaged.
You were
with
single
an,
then.
I was single, you know, mid-20s. You know, I was
Yeah.
very
Ready for adventure.
Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't a very big thing. I was always thought, oh, if I don't like it,
You
I
can
could
always come back or
exactly. I can always go back to America, which is my home. I could go back
and your
or to
family still in
Chennai.
America?
So yes, yes. So my sister ended up staying there and has 3 kids.
Right. So she made
And
a life there.
she made her life there, and then now the kids are all grown up. So you know, it's kind of there. Then my dad actually, interestingly, went back to Japan after retirement. So he's now in Tokyo. He still goes back and forth a little bit as much as he can. But yeah, he. I think he likes what the America has provided, but he's a bit like me. I think he's culturally more
He liked it.
comfortable. more comfortable in Japan for sure. Especially when you get older, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you've got on the plane, you've made your way to London.
Yeah, came with just 3 boxes and then made a life here. So I got I went to school for 2 years. I had a really, really lovely time. And then met a lot of friends. I think our cohort was maybe 220 students or something. So it's a quite a large cohort, right? Maybe it wasn't that many. Maybe it was, yeah, I can't remember. No,
And by
no.
now your English is very good.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. After 10 years in California. Yeah, I had a lot of contacts. Some became very close friends, and the vast majority of us actually got a job here in London. Yeah, so my job was
You're still engineering at this stage?
no. So I made a switch from
Engineering.
engineering to consulting.
Okay.
It sounded quite. I didn't really know what that really meant.
But you found out.
Yeah, exactly. And then, but I thought maybe it's a natural leap, because I did quite an operational job. I did a lot of sort of production ramp up and, managing suppliers. I got involved in some sourcing and
So what was your main
pricing.
first job that you took in London?
So that was just a sort of general management consultancy here
In the Strand.
on the Strand. Yes, exactly. And it was just I was a generalist, so they would just take me on for any project need they had. So I covered anything from I remember trying to launch what was it? Chilled trying to improve the sale for chilled orange juice for a very big, sort of
Yeah.
multinational large company.
What would that involve then? What would your job involve doing? How would you manage that?
So people give you. I mean, these are people who've been doing. Each project in consulting, especially in these big global consultancy, is managed by people who have experience in them, right? So it's a very it's very project manager led. If you don't know anything about consulting. And then they would say, okay, well, let's try to build the hypothesis of how you can grow. And then, you try to at least have a data analysis to validate, invalidate those hypotheses, right? And then at the end of the day, you try to come up with this kind of deck, a presentation that describes your kind of current situation, where you want to go, and how you can get there because data tells you these things.
Okay, and that's what you're involved in there.
So I do lots of data analysis, sort of, kind of the presentation making of it, the mechanics of actual making that.
And how did you find
presentation.
that as a
I really liked it because I was covering the chilled orange juice all the way, and then we were trying to launch some products in like Balkans, and it was very international as well. To something about like natural gas, projection globally for some oil
No, it's
companies.
interesting for people to understand what's involved in these jobs because you are out there trying to expand their.
Yeah, exactly. So I did lots of sort of strategy, I guess, growth plans, and then some operational improvement as well, because, I was involved in manufacturing of mobile phones. That was my first job in San Diego. So, you understand what it takes to, what the value engineering means. And then so sometimes you get this very technical job, like how do I improve my R&D process? So you look at each stage of the process, how many man-hours are used, how much manual process is there, and then you try to kind of process engineer to optimize.
You're putting a lot of data together.
Yeah, exactly. You collect the data that is probably non-existent, and then try to actually educate your client to say, this is what is really happening on the ground, this is what you can do to optimize it, things like this. So I did that for about 5 years. I liked it. But then I went out to industry job, Coats, which is I think the oldest public. No, it was 100 years ago. Somebody told me it was Coats was Apple 100 years ago. It was like one of
It
the
was that.
largest, but it was textile company, or it's actually a thread manufacturing company.
It's interesting how it's changed and how they were the important companies of the time.
Yeah, exactly. In
then
the
it's moved
Industrial
into-
Revolution
yeah.
times, isn't it? Yeah, exactly.
There'd have been a lot of manpower,
Yeah,
and they'd have been producing
exactly.
just different things.
Yeah, exactly. It's the steam turbine, and it's the same era,
Yeah,
isn't it? It's
yeah.
basically, and then textile was very big in
It
England.
was massive because
Yeah.
what do you think? I think one of the biggest industry was gloves because
Yeah.
everyone wore gloves. Who wears gloves now? Not many people. So there has been a massive change in what would have been popular in Victorian time all the way through to what's popular.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're involved with that side of business.
Yeah, that's all. Well, it still exists today. I think it's more humble than what it was before, but it's still the largest thread manufacturer in the world. So, I worked with them. So basically, I went out from advisory role to sort of executional, operational role in the actual operating business. But
How was that different from what you were doing then?
So it's more, it's different because a lot of times the advisory role as a consultant is you're hired in for a specific project, and then you work with a client's team who is on the ground. But whatever the mandate may be, most of the time that I was at least involved in, you create some sort of recommendation and you walk away.
Okay, yeah.
Right. Whereas I think in the operating company, you present your ideas and then you kind of have to make it happen.
Yeah. Well, you're creating a process and then you're trying to get it to market, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the difference. And I did that for about 4 or 5 years, and I really enjoyed it. But it was a private equity owned company, and their exit was to bring it back to the public, and so they did that, and then it kind of took its own life now. It's a publicly traded trading company now. So I left around a little bit before that timing, and then I'm back in went back into the consulting world. But then also, my
your personal life's changing now.
my
right?
personal life changed. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I got 2 kids now.
Yeah.
And 2 kids here and a partner.
All right. So take us on your journey now to your wonderful
Coffee plant.
coffee plant.
It's a really interesting one. So my partner, is born and raised on Portobello Road.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
A
Londoner, yes, but his father came from Cyprus. Yeah, and then it's quite a turbulent story of, when the Cyprus got occupied by Turkey.
Yeah.
Their village is on the Turkish side today. So I think all the villagers basically, because there are Greek descendants, not the Turks descendants, they all left,
Yeah.
and then they became homeless essentially. And they just packed the bag and came to England basically, and with a very little to, I think
With nothing, they just come and they had to set up again.
Yeah, exactly. And then his father, so my partner's father, is I think the third third child of like 8 total of 8 children.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Big family.
Yeah, big family. So he always cooked and cleaned for the younger
other children.
yeah, other children. Even he was whilst he was growing up. And I think by then he must have been maybe 18, 19 when
Right.
he came to
Young man.
Yeah, young man. So he got a first job in Soho as a cook, and then went on, and then he bought a shop in Portobello Road, and then he started operating like a traditional cafe.
Okay, so he stayed in the catering business, really.
Yeah.
So he started his own cafe up in Portobello.
Yeah, exactly.
And how long ago was that, roughly?
I think he must have started in 60s,
Oh, wow.
and then that went on till near 2000, I think. Yeah. So he grew up in that environment.
Right.
And then I think about 35 years ago, or maybe 30 years ago, 35 years ago, he bought this Greek restaurant that was out in like edge of Maida Vale.
Yeah.
Which he knew of. But he also knew this coffee plant. He said he used to go and buy coffee from the founder of Coffee Plant, whose name is Ian, because he used to roast coffee on the market street. I don't know if you do.
I know
this?
Portobello well, so I was brought up in Paddington until I was 10. Yeah.
Yeah, so you've been to that.
So I know
sort of-
Portobello well.
Yeah, very well,
Wandered
right?
down there lots of times as a child. It's changed a lot now. It's changed a lot now.
Exactly. So he said he used to run errands for his father, and
Yeah.
then when they run out of beans, he would go and
Get the beans.
get the beans from the guy who was roasting on the corner of the Portobello Road. And then he became so successful, the coffee plant founder. He got actual proper retail space on Portobello Road. Now it's 180 Portobello Road, but I think he had a few smaller locations like 182, 184 to become really established. I think this was established more than sort of 25 years ago. It's been trading on the 180 Portobello Road. And so he's been customer of this coffee shop since the inception, right? My partner.
All right.
Ian, in meantime, had a very young children, like sort of my situation now. And then he moved from Portobello Road to Hove.
Wow. Okay. Big move.
Big move, right?
Mm.
So he wasn't in the shop that much, but he would still obviously come quite often. And he's actually not a cafe operator, so he didn't start with a catering business. What he started with was a roasting business. Yeah. So he was roasting coffee beans on the premise. And then he was roasting on the premises.
And he was selling the beans.
Yeah,
roasted beans.
exactly. And then I think he had this, like, he was like a true hippie from that era. So he traveled quite extensively as a young child.
Man,
So young boy or teenage boy or whatever. So, and then how he got into a coffee business is because he was traveling through Africa, and then he came to understand how native the coffee culture is to places like Ethiopia, Nigeria. They are very, very big in Kenya. And then he wanted to bring that same sort of beans back to London. And then this is way before, I think a lot of people probably was drinking instant coffee at the best. There was a very much tea drinking culture here, right? And then but he wanted to bring this. So he started having different beans, like he has a Kenyan beans, Ethiopian beans, and then he started exploring into Latin American
So he started to bring the beans into London, into the country,
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. And then it was very, very probably new. This is way predates any this
Predating Costa, Cafe and Nero, yeah.
Yeah. And then also like this whole artisanal coffee culture, it was like probably one of its kind. So it's a real, visionary in that sense. So I think my partner always loved this brand and this coffee, And when Ian was turning 70, he started to talk to a few people saying, I'm thinking of retiring.
All right.
He has 2 boys on his own.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things that if you grew up in that environment, you either love it or you don't want to have anything to do with it.
Absolutely, yeah. I understand that totally.
That's true. Yeah. How many kids do you have?
2.
2. Okay.
They're older, boy and a girl, but they're older.
Okay. Yeah. So so they're like, okay, well then he said I need to sell the business because my family wasn't gonna take it on as a family business. They don't want to have anything to do with it. So and then my partner was like, yes.
So he saw the opportunity.
He saw the
something
opportunity.
he'd known of for a long time as well.
Exactly.
So he was quite connected with it, really.
Yeah. And then he said, let's go for it. And it's not really. I'm just there as.
What was you doing at the time before he took over the business?
He was he still runs this restaurant.
But what was you doing?
I was just I work still as
You were
an
still working and you was a mum.
yeah
Yeah.
I was I'm still working
Yeah.
actually. So I said, well, I can help a little bit. But then I work as a sort of advisor, so I can only
Help.
help,
Yeah. Which is fine.
which is fine. But then more and more I got to know the business. I thought because I didn't know these stories, I was just a little random cafe really that my partner started taking me as we started dating.
Yeah.
So and then the more and more I got to know, I was like, how special is this?
Yeah.
I really don't. I think definitely the oldest independent business left on Portobello.
Wow. Well, that's something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a retail space, I think there are a few market stores that are still predates us, or maybe almost the same era.
Yeah, because it was all market stalls originally.
Yeah, exactly,
Mm.
exactly. So so I said, I'd love to keep the tradition
Well, it's
going.
great, isn't it, to keep it
Mm.
going?
Yeah, exactly. And then it's such a special place because it has a lot of local communities and local people coming in. And I think I haven't really obviously studied the market, but I think we serve at least one of the lowest sort of, price point coffee.
Okay, yeah.
But then
So it's
one
still
of
good
the
value, yeah.
great value,
Yeah.
exactly. So because then that allows people to come
And enjoy it.
enjoy it. Because nowadays, I mean, I work in the city as my sort of my daytime proper job. And then my flat white costs £5, like it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a sandwich or flat white.
Yeah. You've got to make decisions on that, haven't you? Yeah.
So we try not to have, we try to make it more accessible as possible.
And is a lot of local people still use it?
Yeah, exactly. It's still a lot of local people who
Yeah.
come and support,
And then you've got probably busy periods at the weekends where you've got lots of tourists and everything like that.
exactly. But I think our whole aim is just, there's a pub and then there's a cafe in England to hang out. But I think a cafe has become, especially in central London, it's a
True.
real sort of, you gotta at least pay £10 to even sit down and enjoy.
That's right. It's expensive.
Yeah, it's an expensive place to hang out in, and then we're trying
So
to
yours
make
is
it.
much more value.
Yeah, we are trying to make it accessible to local community. There's a lot of people who may not come out of the home otherwise, like a lot of people in a wheelchair, maybe, people
So
maybe
it's
having a very strong.
accessible for people in wheelchairs.
Yeah, it's accessible for wheelchair. It's the place where you come out and then, a lot of people just come in to see who is there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, is that local community?
It's become community based. So people come in, have a chat, meet people that they know.
Exactly.
So you're
And then
creating
grab
that sort of environment.
Exactly.
What sort of coffees do you sell? What's different? Are there different varieties of coffee?
Yeah, so we have we roast our own coffee. We are very big on organic coffees. Traditionally, that's the kind of ethos of the founder as well.
So you've kept to the ethos of that.
Yeah, exactly. We try to make it. We serve 100% organic coffee on the tap, as well as we still sell 20, 30 different kind of beans, roasted beans.
You actually
in the
sell the
shop.
beans as well.
Yeah,
So you sell
yeah.
to public to make their own coffee. You're not just selling people coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
And where are the beans all sourced from now?
Oh, it's interesting. We try to cover the whole world, but it's a bit difficult. But then we have probably like maybe 6 different kinds from Africa. We have tons, 10 different kinds from Latin America, and then another 4 or 5 different kinds from. So we got some from India. We got some from Indonesia. Papua New Guinea.
How do you organise all that then? How do you get them into the?
How'd you
exactly.
get them? How do I get? So, coffee is a very, very old, it started from the Tudor times, isn't it? When their exploration started to happen. I think some people start bringing back coffees then, isn't it? Sort of the Christopher Columbus time. So it is a very old trade, and then there's sort of huge plantations and then lots of associations group that manages them. But we do have a lot of sort of contact points
Right.
that have established over the
Long
last
period of
40
time,
years.
yeah.
Yeah,
Is the founder not involved anymore then?
no, he's still around. He's 73, I think. Yeah. And then he still lives down in Hove, but he comes up once in a while,
But he's not involved with the actual bringing in the beans anymore or anything.
No,
That's all
no.
done by your husband.
Yeah, no. So now we have the two businesses. So there's a cafe business which does the coffee retail, like sell the beans as well as serving drinks, coffee drinks. And then there's also a coffee plant is also a roastery business.
Right.
So we moved the roastery. Well, they moved the roastery into Wembley.
Yeah.
Because they used to, I think, roast in a shop on Portobello.
Okay.
But then your roasting beans actually has lots of smoke. So they get a lot of complaints from upstairs residents.
So
Can
the
you imagine
environment-
this black smoke coming out?
Yeah. So the business is two businesses really.
No, really, yes.
So you've got the retail arm, which was selling coffee and
Right.
beans within the Portobello area.
Yeah.
And then you've got the roasting. So what are you, that side of the business, who you selling to on that side of the business?
Yeah, so mostly actually another food and beverage shops.
Right.
Or
So they're buying your beans to make into coffee.
Exactly. There are some few coffee specialists, and then they exclusively use our beans. Some are like restaurants and catering business.
So you've got the wholesale arm and the retail arm.
Exactly.
So that's good. Yeah.
That's all right. And then we also have we have a very humble websites.
Okay.
And then people, I think what happens is the people who used to live on Portobello Road, they may have lived there in 20s and got to know us.
Right. Yeah.
And then they had a family and then they moved away and they can't come to us. And then they tend to be ordering online.
Wow. So you've got an online service that you can order the beans and
the whole offer is except the drinks, obviously. Yeah, anything we can put in.
You're not going to get a coffee up to them very quickly, no. And that's all on your website, which is
coffee.uk, coffee.uk.com.
Okay, so people can come and find you.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the most successful part of the business, the wholesale or the retail?
I think retail, through the cafe business, it's a lot easier kind of measure. It's a very visible shop.
Yeah.
We are across from Electric Cinemas, now Soho House. So, it has a lot of visibility, isn't it? So, but the wholesale is a little bit of a tough business because you need a salesperson on the ground to kind of knock on each door and then a kind of conversion. A lot of people, a lot of big roastery, that business, the industry is structured such that they usually supply coffee machine with the beans, and then they hold a service package. So that's how they really time. Exactly. Because no one can really operate without a machine, but everybody can change the coffee beans. So but it also, I think for restaurant owner or pub owner, it takes that headache away.
Yeah.
They know one place to call if there
They've
is
got
something.
the machine, they've got the beans coming.
Yeah.
They can do that.
Exactly.
Is that an area you're not thinking about going into that area?
No, not yet.
But it's something maybe in the future.
There's something in the future. I think we are much more interested in kind of spreading the words to the end consumer who likes to enjoy a higher sort of grade coffee at home.
So are you more interested in the retail side?
Yeah,
and maybe
retail.
selling the beans to direct to the public?
Yeah, exactly.
So that might be, that's your role, isn't it, to establish that? That's where your skill set is, isn't it?
Skill sets. Yeah. I think my main motivation really was not really to run the business or to
Be hands-on too.
to hands-on but more for sort of at least providing, investing in the business so that this brand, the community can
Yeah,
live
so you're
on.
basically developing the brand
Yeah.
and developing ideas and seeing where you can take it. Would you like to expand it? Would you like to have more shops?
If my partner does. So my partner is kind of much more sort of operationally involved. I'm there as sort of an investor, quiet investor. I wouldn't say silent, quiet
Silent, no, I know.
investor. something fun. I try to be. I think he
Are you
disagrees.
finding yourself getting more drawn into the business?
Yeah, because I'm very passionate about this community and what the brand represents. And I really wish there is many of these places still left in London because, you saw London.
Absolutely. Yeah.
London changed and
Yeah.
it became very transient. People get, there's a lot of stories of people getting, I don't know, like mugged for phones, if
Yeah.
you lose something, you never get it back, and, it's nice to feel a little community.
You want to bring back a little bit of community spirit where people a
Yes,
bit more value each other.
exactly. And that human relationship and interactions, because you can be so lonely
Yeah.
in London.
Well,
you
yeah.
know?
Well, like your cafe, say you're making it more community. People come in, have a chat, they get to know each other, rather than just flying in, grabbing a coffee and out the door.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm much more interested in that side of
Yeah.
the kind of the
Yeah, the cultural side of it, bringing it together, making it more
Yeah.
community, rather than
Yeah.
just
the commercially trading. So, but yeah, exactly. I think my personal investment in this was to continue to have this kind of community. And then in terms of like, are we interested in having a second location, third location?
Yeah.
I think for me, if there is any other cafe business that maybe it's coming to kind of end of era, like this brand was,
it might be
I
something.
I would be very, very keen to,
So a small cafe that's looking maybe to close or retire, it might be something you'd be interested in to have a look at and maybe develop into your brand and bring that community back.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great idea.
Even the same brand, I don't really mind because even I probably start spending more time on weekends on Portobello Road.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a really lovely market trader, and then she had a very little things, but she had just eggs, and then little vegetables, but everything was really nice.
Yeah.
And then at a very, very affordable price, right? And then one day she goes, "Oh, today's my last day." And then I said, "Oh, why?" Oh, it's like, "Oh, I'm too tired." And then she was like, literally, like maybe approaching 80. And no one wanted to
Doing it all her
go.
life,
Yeah,
getting
she
the
did
eggs.
it. She did it all her life. And then, but she's like, oh, she just couldn't stand it. I think it was autumn time. And then she's like, I can't bear another winter. Yeah, exactly. And then she's like, no one wants to take it. So I'm just going to close. And
It's a shame because
it's a real shame.
they were community areas, weren't they, where
Yeah.
people could come along, get their eggs and from the local.
Yeah. And then
So you're
another butcher left.
Yeah. So you're trying to re-establish that.
Yeah, exactly. So, my entry point was coffee.
Yeah.
But I was telling my partner, like, I'll be interested in anything, like, because from commercial side, maybe it's not a smartest investment, but also at the same time, it's not a bad investment in a sense that we're not having to keep, it's the
As long as
business
it's
is turning.
sustainable.
Yeah, it's a sustainable. That's the word I was looking for, right?
That's what you're looking to do.
Yeah, so it's a bit of my goodwill, I think, to give back to the community.
Yeah, bring back a bit of community spirit, get local shops working again.
Exactly.
Maybe get back to your butcher, your baker, the vegetable shop.
Exactly.
A lady selling her eggs on the corner.
Why not, right? If I can, because if I can get some, at least humble returns on it, it's much better than kind of just stick it into the FTSE 500 or investing in another AI company.
Because you're investing in the community and in people.
Yeah, exactly. Bringing that humanity back to what it feels like ever so isolating society. People are behind the screen. It's nice to have a place where you actually come and talk to real people.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, this cafe has like such a cross-generational, there are a lot of people who are in like retirement age, and then there are people who
you need to get out, have a coffee, to sit down and relax.
Yeah, but then there's these new people. No, Notting Hill, it's such a vibrant area. Yeah. So there's a lot of young professionals who just moved into the area, and then they start chatting with people who've been there for 60 years, and then they get to know a little bit of history. I was like, this is so lovely,
Well, that's it. That's what community was. The old mixing with the young and everyone. Well, people need to go down to your cafe and have a look at it and see if they can get a sense of community again.
Yeah, love to.
So what do you feel your plan is now for the next couple of years? What you're looking to do? Obviously, you're working. You've got 2 young children. And then you're trying to establish this.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the beauty of it because it doesn't need that much of an establishment. But I think, I think one thing that I really want to do is at least keeping the vibe current, because I think that's what it was happening. It was very well established brand. It has so much story and integrity behind this brand, right? It's organic, it's fair trade, but it needs to be current, otherwise it dies down. You hear all these traditional businesses closing down one by one, especially F&B business, because there's no, it's so people switch all the time, and then rightly so. There's not that much of the lock-in mechanism, so you just need to stay by like current, relevant. So that's one thing that we try to do. Another thing is definitely, I think as we baby boomers are retiring,
Yeah.
we are very much interested in just kind of, as much as we have the financial means to do it,
Yeah.
Having all these relevant brand or relevant businesses that are good for the society
Yes.
to survive on. And, so it could be another cafe. It could be something else, like,
So what's your message to anyone who's watching? What do you want to say to him? If you've got something you're thinking of retiring, let me know. What?
That's a great. I mean, I didn't come here to actually with that agenda, but definitely,
or or get in touch so you can be involved and you can sort of like talk to people about and see
what we can, I mean, I think two things that really helped us to revive this brand, because it was a loss-making business and he just wanted to get rid of it at the end. But we wanted to pay some money, obviously, and then buy the equity or buy the business. Because first of all, I think he worked 40 years for the brand, I want to make sure he felt good about it. But then the second is we truly believe that we can turn this around, right? Like I spend some time in my career doing a turnaround of the business. My partner, who's much more operationally involved, gets customers. I think he has built very successful business of the restaurant. I think it's like #1 voted restaurant in the West London now. So he understands.
He's worked hard to build it up again.
Yeah, exactly. He
and
understands.
is it profitable now? Is it?
Yeah. It's at least it's not a draining.
Yeah, no, it's not a drain. It's actually which is nice if it can make.
Yeah, it makes
a profit, make you a living, and that's because that's what business used to be about.
Yeah, that's right. So I think So if somebody wants to retire or struggling because as you grow older.
And they haven't got any family to take it over.
Yeah, exactly.
So it'd be a shame to see them just fall by the wayside.
Yeah,
so you'd be happy to have a look at it for them.
Definitely.
Well, then that's great. So I think on that note, let's tell people, and we'll put some stuff up on the screen about the product, about yourself, how it's going to go forward, and if they want to contact you, they can. But the main thing is for people to go in and experience the cafe and see what it's about.
Yes, please come in.
Yeah.
Have a cup of coffee.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
So thanks for that. And to everybody else, please subscribe to the channel because then we can do more and more of these podcasts.
Thank you.
Lovely. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
All good?
Good? Oh, so nice. Was it good content?
Great.